I recently had someone ask me to make a video on basic armor maintenance and repairs. Just got off my first fight of the year, actually. At the Knights Hall, we opened up for a barrier fight where you've had to fight on one side of a barrier. It was a one-on-one duel. I'm very proud to say I actually won. I won the tournament, which is fantastic. I've been training pretty steadily over the last few months in pandemic, and glad that it felt like it paid off, so that was great. Won against some awesome fighters, other executioners who are phenomenal, and I think I was lucky to win the day. But coming home now, it's time to do maintenance, do repairs, and kind of keep everything preventative maintenance so it doesn't rust. And I started taking apart my kit. Decided to be a good time to kind of go through the basics of what I keep in my repair kit, basic armor repair, and some fundamentals. And then I can go into detail later with specific repairs, like how to do a rivet repair, things like that. So first off, I'm going to take a look at some basic armor that you may have if you're starting out, or it's probably your brig is made in a similar way, which is going to be some sort of set of metal plates like this. You know, if you have it, you know what it looks like, and you got a bunch of rivets on here. So this is going to be something you want to check. You want to check all your rivets, so go through your brig, go through anything you have that's designed like this, and go through all your plate mail and check all of your buckles, check all your straps, see if anything's broken or torn. I know I have to do a repair on my helmet where I've got a tear, one of the parts ripped out, but you'll find that these rivets do tear out and break sometimes. You'll have to repair them. So what we use to repair these are roofing nails. You can see that. So just roofing nails. You're going to take the roofing nail, and that is basically going to become your rivet. So you're going to take this roofing nail here, this little roofing nail, oh, my sword just fell, and that is the face of all of these pieces here. So you slide that in to the hole. You're going to snip off the back of the roofing nail, the little piece there, if you can see it, it's tiny. And then when you snip that off, which you're going to do with one of these tools back here, God, I got a bunch of stuff. Pair of these snips, you can get these at any hardware store, or any hardware store you get these at. So you're gonna have a pair of these snips. These are also great for cutting leather if you need to in a pinch. If you got to cut a strap or something like that, they work for both. You're gonna put that in there, and you're gonna cut that short, about that long as your rivet. Plug the hole through your cloth and your metal, and then you're gonna use a ball peen hammer to peen down, to hammer down in a round circle the rivet. So you're going to have a ball peen hammer in your kit. So like this. If you have a Harbor Freight near you, I recommend buying a lot of this stuff there. I have a full wood shop with nice tools, but for most of my armor repair, I'm using cheap stuff because I don't do too much of it, and really it's not that detailed. We're basically banging metal back together. So buy a cheap hammer, Harbor Freight, little ball peen hammer like this, and then you're going to hammer down and peen that down with the rounded edge and bend it over so it basically stays in place. So ball peen hammer, big part of my kit for armor repairs. Also at Harbor Freight, I picked up this little guy. This guy's awesome. So it's a little tiny ball peen hammer, so I can use it to get into really tight spaces inside like my helmet or things. Or if I have to, I can put this underneath like an anvil. If I have to repair, it needs a bigger ball peen to hammer on site. The one thing I didn't say is you're going to need something to hammer against on the back side when you're peening down. So you're going to need to get an anvil, which can be expensive. You can get cheap ones at Harbor Freight that'll work for our sport. Or most of us will use something like a vise. If you have a vise in a wood shop, any hard chunk of solid metal, railroad tie, if you can find one, like a chunk of that. But you need something to basically brace the back of the armor against, put your rivet through, and then peen it over with the hammer. So you use a ball peen hammer for that, and you can use a couple of those, get a buddy to hold it, or get something, a vise or a cheap anvil. You get like a cast ones, I think, at Harbor Freight for like 30 bucks that are small. I already showed you the clips. What else do I have here? Next part of repairing is going to be making sure that nothing rusts. So you can see a little bit of rust on this. So I got to clean this off. This is actually my old legs. I'm not using these right now, but I'm using an example. But it could be plate legs, doesn't make a difference. So use a cloth for light rust, and you're going to use, where did I put it? Way over here. 3-in-1 oil, that's what I use. There's a bunch of other stuff. This tends to work for me. I already have a bunch of it. I use it on tools and other things too. 3-in-1 oil, again, Harbor Freight, any hardware store, and also a Scotch-Brite pad for tougher spots. So after every fight, I'm going to go through and basically oil up all my armor, clean it all down with a rag, and if I have any rust spots, use a Scotch-Brite pad and 3-in-1 oil to scrub it out. It does an amazing job, keeps it generally clean, keeps it rust-proof. Also, after a fight, take all your stuff out and air it out immediately, especially with a sweaty, disgusting gambeson in there, or a jacket and pants. Like, you need to get that out away from your armor, take it apart, make sure that it airs out, and then you're going to wipe it down with oil and scrub out any rust you have with a Scotch-Brite pad and the 3-in-1 oil. Gotta put that somewhere so it doesn't spill. What else do I have in my kit? So you may need to do repairs where you're going to be putting on or taking off or adding different points. So a point is basically a leather patch like this. There's some holes punched around it, and then you're going to punch 2 holes in it. So I'm going to use my trusty hole punch. So a leather hole punch, again, another tool from any hardware store or Harbor Freight where it's cheaper. You're going to take it, get different size wheels, and you can basically punch out little leather punches here. See if I can get these to come out clean right now. Yeah, there you go. Let's get that one through there. Yeah, so you have 2 little holes in it there now, if you can see those. Yep. And those are your points. You're going to make these out of hard, thick leather. Leather you can probably get from someone else in your club. You can use really nice leather belts if you don't have any around, or you have to go to a store that sells leather. You can get it like Michael's sometimes, but generally a real leather shop's going to be a place where to get it. With that point, that's what you're going to be putting on your gambeson. If you get, I'm not really doing how to put armor together, but your points are where all of your pieces tie on your jackets and pants, so your armor stays on. I picked up a trick from my buddy Mikey, which is whenever I do a point, I actually use 2 sets of laces. I use 2 different pieces of paracord. And paracord is something that you're going to have in your kit, hopefully, or leather. But I use 2 different pieces of paracord in different colors through every point, so I can double tie all my armor, and the different colors makes it easier. Make sure I tie them to the right pieces and it stays on. So if one comes loose or loosens up, the double tie tends to hold. I've had a lot less armor failures and problems since I started doing that. So double tying on the gambeson is a good idea. Man, this thing is still sweaty. So that's that. What are you going to put in your points with? You got to use some kind of thread. So you can use artificial sinew, you can use real sinew. So artificial sinew, I got this at Michael's, it's back up. What I really use, and you can order this right on Amazon, is B50 Dacron. It's the stuff that you make bowstrings out of. Brian Shabbat tipped me off to this. I shoot archery, so I've actually used the string before. Didn't even think about using it for tying on to points, but it works fantastic. You keep a big thread, I think it's like $10, and you can sew stuff or tie stuff off real quick. It's a really strong piece. As you can see, I just keep a needle right in it, just stuck down in it, so I have my big thick needle for repairs if I have to do something fast at the field. So we've done leather punch already. What else we got? Always gonna have hockey tape in my kit. Hockey tape for emergency, wrapping handles. If something breaks and I got a minute to fix it, we pull hockey tape out, wrap that armor back on, get me through the round, and repair it afterward. Small pair of pliers. I use ones with a little bend in it like this for pulling ties through, bending something if I have to, adjusting a buckle, things like that. So I have that in my kit. Couple of punches, so I keep different size punches in my kit. These are fantastic. Again, if you're punching out a rivet that's broken, you can hammer it out the back, and you can use it to punch through a leather hole if it doesn't go all the way through. So you get a punch kit. Again, I think I was at Harbor Freight. I think they're like $4. So I got these. A silver Sharpie. I use silver in particular. Again, I think Brian Shabbat cued me on this too. So if I need to put a point on or adjust it, I'm moving my arm around, this piece here will allow you to make sure that you can mark it and it fits real well. So that's a great thing to have. So bag of leather, leather ties. I got these at Michael's, I think, and they were like really cheap. It's like $6. It's a whole bunch of leather ties, kind of like a scrap bag. So that's cool to have for doing ties. If I don't have paracord or something else, or depending on what you like, you can use these as well. This is pivotal for me. This is a rigging knife, sometimes called. It's got what's called a marlin spike on it, which is real important. So this little spike here is what I use for pushing cord through holes or making punching if I have to cloth. This thing is phenomenal. So you're looking for a marlin spike. It's a riveting. I forgot the name. Marlin spikes we care about. These are on Amazon. They're like $9. So it's got the spike, and it's got this super sweet little knife that I really love. These things come really sharp, and they're really durable and thick. So these are like $9, and I need to have this on my kit. Everyone I know has one who does armor repairs. Going through that, I just keep a tape on my kit too. So I got to measure anything or adjust things. It's nice to have. It's a little tape on a thing there. And then the final thing I talk about is having a file. So you need to have a file in your kit, because after fights, you're going to get a bunch of nicks on your weapons, and you have to file these down to round off the sharp edges, take out any kind of sharp points, any areas that are going to cut somebody. So you're going to file that off, and that way you're legal and can go into a fight and not worry about getting anything kicked out or hurting anybody in a way that we don't want. We don't want to cut people's gambuses and things, especially for fighting our own teammates, for practices or local matches, things like that. So you're going to want to file down your weapons. Like this sword I used this weekend. It's got some good nicks on the I can't see it, but it's good nicks, good sharp areas that just need to be kind of honed down and filed. So that's in my to-go kit, and I always carry that. So that's basically it. I mean, a lot of armor repair, the preventative piece is oiling stuff and making sure it doesn't rust, right? And then checking for tears, checking for buckles broken, checking for straps that are nicked and cut. Having leather supplies is important so you can fix things. That's really the overall piece of what I do. I can do a video later on actually putting rivets in detail if I can get the camera set up on it. But hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, let me know. Leave it in the comments. You can certainly message me as well. Follow me on Facebook on the Woodchuck Knight. Like and subscribe. Again, I fight at the Knights Hall in Nashua, New Hampshire. Fight for the Nightmares. It's one of my local teams. I'm wearing the shirt today. Like I said, we had our first fight back. It was great. No audience, no fans yet, just the local fighters. But we're hoping to be doing more and really excited to be back, starting to kind of pick this up as long as we can stay safe. Again, thanks for watching my video. Hope this is helpful. If you need anything else, let me know.